let's move then to the public comment. And we do have a number of in-person sign-ups. We will limit, due to the number, we'll limit to 2 minutes. We sometimes go to 3, but we've got a pretty packed schedule today. So 2 minutes apiece. Sybil will keep the time and give you a warning, I believe, and then call when time's up. So we first have Jay Blaine, I believe.
Good morning, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. As you consider and discuss the standards that are in front of you today and other days, it seems like nearly every board meeting you have standards to discuss. We would, as the association representing great majority of educators in the state, would encourage you to follow the process. The process that you have is a really good process. It starts with subject matter experts, writing committees, including, as was mentioned just now, educators like these great educators right here, people who have put in the time to learn their subject matter, to become experts in their subject matter, and the students to which these standards are addressed. The process of gathering public input. The public gets to weigh in, to suggest changes, to suggest additions, deletions, and changes. Consider all of this process that has come before and the committee time that has been spent hours upon hours in crafting the best possible standards to come before you. And consider this process, consider all of the expertise and time that has gone into them while you make decisions upon passing them at the final stage of the process. Consider, there might be minor tweaks that need to be made, but resist the urge to do wholesale editing and changing to them at this point in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Brian Poole.
Hi. I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to comment today. I'm Brian Poole. I am a professor of microbiology and molecular biology at Brigham Young University. Obviously, these are my thoughts, not theirs, but I've been doing scientific research and teaching for 15 years. And I'm also a proud graduate of Granger High School, and my kids went through Timpanogos High School, so I'm deeply invested in Utah public education. I'm concerned about the proposed amendments that were submitted to the science education standards that have now been rejected by the committee meeting but I'm still concerned about these amendments in particular. So in 1948, Joseph Stalin declared that genetics, Darwinian evolution, and inheritance were against the dogma of Marxism-Leninism. This led to over 3,000 biologists being shot, imprisoned, or fired. The ideas of Lysenko, who rejected Darwinism, were declared as the only way biology should be taught or practiced in the Soviet Union. This led to crop yield declines throughout the entire country. At the same time, Norman Borlaug, an American, was using the principles of genetics and heredity that were banned by Stalin to develop a new strain of wheat that would eventually usher in the Green Revolution and save literally billions of lives across the world. The proposed edits to the Utah Science Curriculum Standards, which have now been rejected by the Curriculum Board, would undermine core principles of biology and seek to create fear about the practice or teaching of this essential science. Most of the proposed edits sought to cast doubt on evolution by declaring that mutations are not capable of producing good results. This is 100% false. I hope that everybody's had a chance to have some ice cream lately, given that the snow seems to be gone. The ability to digest milk as an adult comes from a single mutation. There are literally thousands of other examples. So that whole idea it just doesn't hold up to actual science. I have a lot more to say. I sent my comments out, but I've kind of been short now, but one thing that I want to say is that the really sad thing is that these battles are so unnecessary. I love biology. I love God. I love the interconnectedness of all life. I love the color and variety of life. And these are not battles that we need to have. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Dave Mortensen.
Chair Moss, I visited with Mr. Mortensen earlier today and reminded him that he and AP will have 30 minutes for this afternoon after lunch to talk about their waiver request. And so to the extent he wanted to preserve his comments and share them with the board here sitting, that might be advisable. And I think that's what Mr. Mortensen was going to do. We can confirm that.
Yes, so myself and Ms. Charette will speak during agenda item number 8 at that time.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Okay, Brooke Stevens then.
Hi, some school districts, particularly Davis School District and Washington School District, has done a great job of identifying sensitive materials, so much that there have been 72 titles across the state of Utah that have been removed district-wide. And my request is that the USBE require schools to alert parents that these 72 books are in their school if they are, with links to excerpts so that they can choose to opt their child out or so that they can choose to challenge it. And the reason for that is that there have been instances where books that are clearly breaking the law are being retained. And I have 2 examples of that. And the first one, and it needs to be up to the parents. They're the most local thing for their kid because it's their child's life and brain that may become addicted, triggered, traumatized, and deeply affected. Mothers, doctors, and OBGYNs are getting more reports that many girls today don't want to have sex, so much so that they bind and mutilate their own bodies. The damage is real. 2 books that have been challenged and retained in schools and are even in elementary schools. Here is one that even went appealed. It was retained in Jordan School District all the way to the USBE and unanimously approved to be in the school. So this is an excerpt from that book. You ever seen a ramrod like Dan's? I shake my head as I roll the condom down over it. No,
Brooke,
of course you haven't.
Brooke, could you just submit this out of the public? We understand the sensitivity is the issue itself.
These are all for you, the
Thank you.
excerpts. But
Thank
this
you.
was approved even by the USBE, and the appeal process didn't help. And one of these is even in an elementary school in Salt Lake City. So my request is that the parents, where these books are retained, they can no longer challenge them. They be notified. It's not bringing it out, and it's just allowing parents to choose because they're the ones that are dealing with the effects of these explicit materials.
Thank you, and thank you for submitting that. We ask our commenters to follow that practice. We understand the desire to impress the nature of these books, and we appreciate that and want to take it seriously, but let's do that out of the public eye since we do have kids viewing. Thank you. Next, we've got Megan. Megan. Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, we got it. Megan Voskarau. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name.
So my name's Megan Voskarau J. I tried to change it on my email, but, oh, okay. Are you going to start it? Okay. Is it on? Okay, I have never done this before, so. Okay, I am speaking for statewide standards regarding sensitive materials found in our school libraries. I ask you all, have you seen or reviewed the actual content in books of concern? I sent an email to the board this week highlighting the books that have been deemed sensitive material and removed from one or more districts in the state but are still available in other districts. I attached Washington County's training video and slides as reference to what a statewide standard would look like to ensure all districts are following state law. It is simple and it has proven to be very efficient. I also emailed the content links for each of you to review of not only the books that have been removed, but also a small sample of books that have not been challenged yet and will continue to sit on shelves until a parent at the specific school becomes aware and challenges. This becomes extremely concerning for books that have been found in elementary and middle schools. There has to be a way to notify these districts of the books so they can, oh boy. so they can review their catalog to see if these titles are on their shelf. A couple examples in Salt Lake District are Damsel in Nibley Park, Tower of Dawn in Bonneville Elementary, The Bluest Eye in Kingdom of Ash in Glendale Middle. This is in addition to what has been found in Jordan School District middle schools that I emailed you all earlier this week. Another issue in Jordan School District is that if a committee at one school removes a book for not meeting the district's selection criteria and being deemed harmful, it is only removed from the one school where challenged, even if it is available at multiple schools. How can a book violate district criteria? It does not say school criteria and be deemed harmful due to state code at one school and not the others. JSD's policy looks good on paper, but when they are retaining books that clearly violate 76-10-1227, the reviews are proving problematic. It is the USB's responsibility to ensure all districts are following the law. Tricks is one of the several books retained even after a district appeal. Has anyone actually looked at it, even just for personal knowledge? So if and when this discussion happens, you will be informed. One more quick thing. Without a strong direct USBE rule stating what standards need to be followed, Utah districts will continue to be in violation of Utah law. I ask you all first, look at the content of the books I provided you, spend some time really understanding what is available, and start the conversation about what more you can do.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you for
Chair,
doing this.
very quickly, Megan, I'm so sorry,
Do
could
I
you
see
put
a-
your name on a sticky note and bring it to me, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Sarah Erb. Is Sarah with us? Okay, we can come back to Sarah. We've got Robert Cheatham.
My name is Robert Cheatham. I'm a pediatric intensive care doctor and neonatal intensive care doctor. This is the first time I've spoke at a meeting like this, at any type of municipal government or state government. But I saw something last evening that sparked my desire to come down here, was the striking of the climate change from the science standards from the Utah curriculum. Again, I came here to speak to express my extreme dismay at this new standard that's going to replace the word climate change with cataclysmic events, indicating that it's more of a natural phenomenon that's occurring. And I would ask the board, who I'm learning quickly here is faced with the multitude of tasks that are really above and beyond what I imagined every day you're faced with hearing people from all walks of life coming in with their concerns and criticisms, is that this represents, I think, a change from what is considered not only by the multitude of scientists in the world, but also what we could, I say, witness firsthand in Utah by annual events that we see in our climate. One thing I would ask that is when less than 1% of scientists and that 1% of those that are educated in this realm disagree with that it's still a consensus opinion. My strong belief and firm conviction is that that takes a step backwards and puts scientists who have no indebted effort or incentive to make these claims secondary to those that are incentivized to make claims that refute what we can not only witness ourselves firsthand, but have also seen through multitude of research-backed papers. So I just ask that you consider the change as something that will affect our students' ability to handle the world as it is in reality, and it is going to become more of an issue for the generations facing us ahead. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Do we have Sarah? Okay, we do have Representative Galen Benyon, I believe, is up next, or do we? I may have gone out of order, but welcome, Representative. We'll get back. We do have a couple others still on the list. I'll get to you.
My name is Gay Lynn Benyon. I represent House District 41 in the Utah House of Representatives, and I'm also here to speak to the meteorology suggested changes. I am honored to serve on Natural Resources, Agriculture, and Environment committees, and so I have been able to hear from so many scientists and people that work here in our state. And I'm particularly concerned about that last line that would be deleted, that students analyze and interpret data to help them communicate the system interactions that occur between society and the climate. You know, the Great Salt Lake is a concern to everyone in our state, regardless of where you live or anything. The Great Salt Lake is of international concern. And this is true for all saline lakes throughout the world. And this is because of higher temperatures year after year that are drying up these lakes. And so it is important that our students have a science background to understand these changes and what we can do. Just last night, there was a great presentation from Department of Natural Resources about Wise About Fire webinars that they're having and the adaptations that we as people and society need to make to reduce chance of wildfire and to improve our society and make it and adapt through these changes that we're having. So I encourage you to really be careful and not make any changes that would not help our students understand the science and the interaction between the changes that we're seeing and society. And there's been in 2022, there were 18 different billion-dollar-plus events related to these climate change events in our country that cost us in the last 10 years $1.1 trillion. So we can see the societal impacts of climate change and that our children will be needing to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Benyon. Let's see. Christy, we don't have Sarah Erb with us, do we? Okay. Christy Lehman. Christy is on Zoom. There we go.
Hi,
Christy.
yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, great, thank you.
Can't hear
I'm
you
a
yet.
Provo resident. Oh, let's see. Can you hear me?
It's very quiet. It might be on our end. Or can you lean in or crank the volume of the microphone?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Just
Hello, hello, test.
we might check on our end. I'm
Oh.
not sure if it's. Why don't we come back to you, Christy? We're going to just double check the connection
Okay.
on our end. So I think we
Okay.
have another in-person. Oh, and there you go. That worked. You're on.
Hello?
Yes. We
Am
got
I
you.
on?
Yep.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so I'm a Provo resident and mother of 2 teens. I'm talking today about the proposal to remove education about the changing climate from SEED standards. Depriving students of a safe place to learn and discuss their living environment, as well as critically think about possible solutions to environmental problems, would be detrimental to our children as citizens of Utah and of the world. This proposal sends a message to students that the state does not acknowledge evidence widely accepted by climatologists worldwide, as well as by our own legislature, our Department of Public Safety, and our Division of Fire, Forestry, and State Lands. Last year, the Utah legislature passed HCR 1, entitled A Concurrent Resolution to Work Together to Address the Climate, Public Lands, and Carbon Sequestration. Meanwhile, the Division of Fire, Forestry, and State Lands includes information about wildfire and a warming climate on their website. And the Utah Department of Public Safety ran on its website that in Duchesne, average annual temperatures have increased from 43 degrees to nearly 48 since 1950. I quote from their website. This warming trend amplifies the impacts of Utah's natural hazards, including avalanche, dam failure, drought, flooding, landslide, severe weather, and wildfire, many of which we've seen just in the last year. Shielding kids from information like this does not protect them, but rather leaves them vulnerable, ignorant, and unprepared, not only as citizens of a changing world, but as students who may go on to universities in other states or work in the worldwide marketplace. Students should be taught to think critically about climate as about other scientific topics, or face trouble succeeding in higher education and in the workforce. Information on a changing climate is an essential part of this generation's scientific education. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christy. Do we have Stacy Molinette in person?
Hi, my name is Stacy Molinette. I'm with Utah PTA, and I'm here to talk about chronic absenteeism. And Utah PTA would like to express our gratitude for the work of Representative Dan Johnson and the Task Force on Evidence-Based Practices regarding prevention of chronic absenteeism. Utah PTA appreciated having a seat at the table. Recognizing what an issue chronic absenteeism is to our students, Utah PTA members passed a resolution in January on chronic absenteeism as we began the legislative session. And our resolve statements urge the Utah State Board of Education to provide guidance and strategies for early detection of students who are chronically and acutely absent, propose disciplinary, targeted, and evidence-based prevention, positive support, and outreach strategies and services that include parents and families to address chronic absenteeism, and to develop community-wide awareness strategies, and encourage LEAs to adopt policies requiring detailed tracking and regular timely monitoring of students' chronic absenteeism, including noting causes for the absenteeism, patterns of absenteeism, as well as tracking absenteeism longitudinally for students, to analyze the correlation between absenteeism and academic achievement and student well-being yearly and longitudinally, and to implement an early warning system. Following the work that you as board members are doing on R277607, attendance promotion and chronic absenteeism prevention, Utah PTA looks forward to finding ways we can partner with you to help our parents get the information they need to help our families understand that this is a serious issue and to help our students succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Last call, Sarah Erb. Okay, that concludes our public comment then, I believe. Sorry? I wasn't able to sign up, but I would. Do we have, fit that in? Let's, I think we in the place of Sarah, we got 2 minutes until top of the hour. Come on up if you'd state your name, and got 2 minutes.
Thank you for letting me speak. And my name's Chris Martinson. I'm with Voice for the Voiceless, and I live down in Harriman. This is specifically to speak on the reproductive language and the changes that are to be made or talking about being made. So when I look and I see amendments and changes and go back tos and strike throughs, it really just seems to be word salad. But what it is it's a denial of science and biology. It's also a devaluing of human life. When you lower human life by calling it offspring or like any other creature, then, and you don't even call it male or female, or you want to take that out. Well, at the moment of fertilization is the beginning of human life. And at that moment, the chromosomes decide whether it's male or female, and that's before it attaches to the uterine wall. So call it a zygote, embryo, a fetus, whatever scientific terms you want to use, it's still human life at the moment of conception in the womb. So when we devalue human life, it also takes away the morality. You've now created a society that's able to justify killing people like abortion, which is what we see happening today in Utah. So Proverbs 6:17, or many things, 6 things that God hates, 7 is abomination. He says God hates haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood. You can read the rest, but all of that is happening in these amendments. Science and biology confirms what God already says in his words, that babies are human from conception. And God made them in his images, male and female in his image. So if you're denying science and biology, then you're denying God's word. And the state needs to repent of that and speak the truth and teach the truth to our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes public comment. Thank you as always for the public for weighing in, and again, jump online, sign up so we know you're here, and we're glad to hear from you.